What is going on, guys? Dranathor here, and today I thought I would run through a TCG deck rather than a Master Duel deck. I have been playing this IRL at the locals. The last time I went to locals, I ended up 3-1, only losing to a Despia Albaz, I think it was. He played Ra on me. He won the dice roll and played Ra on me, and I had absolutely no way of dealing with it. And then in game 2, it just wasn't happening. And sometimes you get those games. However, I'm playing Rikka with Traptrix. Finding it fun. Don't quite think it's as good as the Rikka Sun Avalon, but it's something different that I wanted to try because the people at my locals were getting used to me playing the Rikka Sun Avalon. I've gone for 3 Boudica because she is the way of searching garden. She's kind of like your combo starter. 3 Momelo because it's searching the hole. It works with Serra. 3 Arachnocampa because it's the special summon. And then 1 Dionea that you pretty much always add back to your hand from Strenna. Because you will be linking any of these that you draw into a Serra, you play Parallel Exceed because it's a free Rafflesia with a Gravedigger's Trap Hold to stop you from getting Nibiru'd. I played 2 Petal, mainly because you don't really want it as your normal summon, because you want to be normal summoning preferably Boudica, sometimes Momelo. So 2 Petal as your normal summon, 1 Snowdrop and 2 Mudan. I think this is the right ratio to play, especially with the Traptrix stuff, mainly because you're not that often going into your Rikka stuff until you've done the full combo. By that point you're summoning Snowdrop and Mudan, so it's not too much of a problem only having 1 Snowdrop, 2 Mudan. 3 Princess because it's a level 4 that just special summons itself. So if you have, say, Princess, Boudica, add Garden, special the Princess, make them both into Pingialuka to add Momelo, Pingialuka into Serra, normal summon the Momelo with the effect of the Garden. It activates to search for Holotea. Serra activates, you don't search Holotea, sorry, you add any of these 3 traps. Serra activates to set Holotea. Holotea discard the trap, summon it. Serra activates, special summon another Traptrix, usually Dionea. So then you have the 4 on board. Serra and Holotea into Jasmine. The 2 Traptrix into Strenna. Strenna effect, detach Dionea. Add Dionea back to your hand because you want to keep the Dionea in your hand. Jasmine to tribute the Strenna, Petal, Strenna effect, go for Hyperiton, Petal to add Snowdrop or Mudan. We're playing 3 Glamour because there's so many level 4s in the deck. You tribute something to search both. You have to have Princess, which is why I was playing Primula, but I dropped the Primula because it was just ending up being a brick in the hand. It didn't really do too much, which was frustrating, but I did drop the Primula. But I stuck with 3 Glamour. 2 Trap Tantalizing Tune, because especially if you draw the Princess, you discard the Princess to draw 2, and then you have the monster negate in your grave ready. You can also discard, say like Holotea, to use its second effect. You can also discard Evenly if it's later in the game, or if you're going first and you don't need your Evenly. 1 Garden, you only need 1 Garden because you search it with Boudica. 2 Concom. I see people playing 3. I think in this you can get away with 2. Because the way that you do the combo, you will pretty much guarantee yourself summoning a Mudan to search for the Concon to then set the sheet. 1 double or nothing, because you play in Utopia and Utopia double. You play in that many level 4s, you might as well. You can't use Princess to go into Utopia though, because when Princess is on the board, it limits you to plant monsters, so you cannot use Princess to go into Utopia. You can use Parallel Exceed though, which is funny. I've done it before. Caught by the Grave. 1 Caught by the Grave is just clutch. I feel like you have to play the Caught by the Grave, because if you have it and you interrupt your opponent's Ash, then you are happy. 3 Holotea. This card is bonkers. It's pretty much the workaround for the deck. It does pretty much everything. And then you play 1 Floodgate, 1 Trap Hole Nightmare, and 2 Gravediggers. I'm playing 2 Gravediggers because I'm playing Parallel Exceed for a second Rafflesia, because Rafflesia isn't once per turn. and you're always going to want to be sending Gravediggers to stop your opponent's Nibiru for games 2 and 3. But I find Floodgate and Trap Hole Nightmare are probably the best ones you can go for. There is obviously the normal Trap Hole that no one will ever go for. Potentially Bottomless could work. There's also the Treacherous Trap Hole. But the problem with this is if you have no traps in your graveyard, you're pretty much going to always end up with a trap in the graveyard. So you could play it though, because it destroys 2 monsters rather than just the one. I don't think you'd want to play any of the other traps though. Maybe Time Space Trap Hole to get rid of a extra deck one. But you know, if you can just Floodgate their normal summon, you don't need to worry about Time Space. 2 Imperm. The only reason I'm playing 2 is because I don't own 3. Otherwise I'd play 3. Pretty busted card. Most of the time you will save it. You won't activate it going first to try and interrupt your opponent. You will activate it going second to bait out their negate, so you can evenly them. 1 sheet because you're playing 2 Concom. You're playing the Rikka stuff, you might as well get the sheet. You tribute your opponent's guy and steal the other one. Gets rid of 2 problems. Evenly is busted in this format. It's only a general locals. We don't have too many people playing like Kashtira. We've got a couple people playing Labyrinth. We do have a couple people playing Kashtira, but it's, you know, mainly Albaz and Despia, and then people kind of turn up with fun decks, so it's always interesting. It's always nice to have an Evenly, because Evenly is just bonkers, especially against Kashtira, which, you know, Kashtira makes you sad. On to the extra deck. Utopia and Utopia Double to finish the game. Hyperiton is a monster and spell negate that you go into with Strenna. Teardrop's a big boss monster. Teardrop's fun, it's what you make with Mudan and Snowdrop. Unless you make Ulse to put something back to the top of your opponent's deck, which is hilarious when you put something back that they cannot use. It's just another way of game, in air quotes, because you don't actually kill them, but they draw a dead card. 2 Strenna. I don't think you need 3, because you use 1 Strenna to go into Hyperiton, and then use the other to go into either Teardrop or Ulse. It's not very often you summon 2, but Kashtira gets rid of them, so you need 2. Pinjialuka is just to get you out of tight spaces. It's also quite handy against Albaz, because if they use Fusion, can't remember what it's called, but if they use the Fusion card, they send 2, you can use Pinjialuka to steal their Fallen of Albaz, which stops them from then going into the other dragon to make Mirror Jade. 2 Rafflesia, because I'm playing Parallel Exceed, and Rafflesia is just the, you know, stop your opponent kind of card. I've just added this in. I wasn't playing it, but I've added an Atopus, simply because makes all you guys bigger. They gain 1000 attack, and then once per turn you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plants you control, negate the effects, and then you can banish a normal trap to destroy one of those. So if they've got a lot of problem cards, rather than going into like Jasmine to go into Strenna to do all the tributing stuff, you use 3 of the Traptrix to make Atopus. Yes, you only have 2, but sometimes negating 2 of your opponent's monsters is just good enough. Jasmine for, you know, combo. 3 Sarah, because it's Traptrix. You play 3 Sarah. The reason I play these cards in the extra deck is because Draw is absolutely bonkers, Dark Rule and Namor is absolutely bonkers, and a lot of people at my locals, they play typical like one type things. We have a lot of people playing Synchro decks, and you have a lot of people playing Xyz decks. So Dimensional Barrier just works against them. Harpy's Feather Dust gets rid of problem cards. Ash, I don't think I've ever sided in Ash, but it does, you know, it stops the Albaz Fusion. That's pretty much the only reason I use it. Pankratops is a busted card. It's, you know, kill a big thing and pop something else. Erica is very, very handy, because the problem that this deck has is getting over stuff that isn't affected. So you can't tribute it with Concon. You can't, you know, send it with, you can't steal it with Sheep, sorry. You know, so if they have, say, like, a 3k that you just can't do anything against, and you're there with, like, you know, Pinjaluka, or Atopus, or Teardrop, because Teardrop and getting rid of an Erica makes her a 4k, which is enough to get rid of a lot of big things. So I do have the one of Erica, just for that situation. I'm going to attempt to do a test hand just to show you like a typical combo, which I don't think I'm going to be able to because of what I've drawn. It's a little bit difficult to work with, but you would, you know, summon Momelo effect. We will add Holotea. We will make Momelo into Sarah. Set the Holotea because you can activate it straight away. Get rid of the Trap Hole Nightmare to summon it. Sarah activates to summon. We'll go Dionea because Dionea activate. Get back the Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. Sarah will then also activate to let me set another trap, so I'll set Gravediggers. Because I've got the Concom, I'm going to activate Glamour. I should have done this right at the beginning, really, to add the Princess. Because I can now special summon the Princess. You then make 2 of them, Sarah, and I usually use the trap. Because it has to be plants to make Jasmine. You can then make the remaining 2 into Strenna. Always want to add back the Dionea because it's then summoned to extend for next turn. We can Jasmine effect here, get rid of the Strenna. We'll summon the Pell. Strenna will activate, which will give me Hyperiton. Petal will activate, won't use the Hyperiton effect to add the best bet would probably be to go for the Snowdrop because we have the Concom. I know it means summoning the Dionea, but you end up making these level 8. Summon the Teardrop. Concon, use Hyperiton effect, put the Glamour underneath. So you end up with a Jasmine, so these 2 can't be destroyed while you're on the same life points. Monster and Spell Negate, tribute your opponent to card, because you can set the Rikka sheet. Tribute your opponent's monster, a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, and a Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. And we also have the Court Buy that you probably would have used. If you have the Garden, before you activate the Concon, you banish your Jasmine to summon Sarah back from the grave. We also have the Holotea engraved for next turn to summon the Dionea that we will be taking off of Teardrop. And you also have the Princess for Monster Negate. Let's try one more. Yeah, this, yeah. Normal the Pudica. Pudica. Add Garden. Depends kind of what we want to do here. But I will make this into Sarah. And then we have Parallel Exceed effect. Majority of the time, you would want to make these into a Rafflesia to stop your opponent's Nibiru. But I'm going to make Pianjaluka because we have the Garden and I don't have another Traptrix. Take off an Exceed. Add Mermello. Because Pianjaluka are activated, you can use Sarah effect to set Holotea. Activate Garden, which gives you the other summon. To summon a Momelo. You can add anything at this point, but because we already have a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, it probably makes sense to add a Floodgate Trap Hole. We can then activate the Holotea. We'll discard the Floodgate because our opponent knows we have the Floodgate. So Sarah activates. We summon Dionea. Dionea effect will reset the Floodgate. Or set it to begin with, shall we say. I've already showed you this bit. Go into Jasmine. Into Strenna. Obviously at any point here, you can just go into Utopia and kill your opponent. But we'll say that we're going first. Jasmine effect, Tribute. Play the Petal. Strenna effect. You always go for the Hyperiton, there's no reason to go for the Teardrop. Use Petal effect add the Snowdrop. Tribute the Petal. Mudan. She goes Snowdrop. Mudan. Mudan activates. Add Concon. We haven't even used Glamour. Didn't realise that. Summon the Sarah using the Garden effect. Concon. Hyperiton effect. Put the Garden underneath. Snowdrop for level 8s. The Tribute. Set the Gravediggers. If you did have another Traptrix in your hand, you could have made this a Rafflesia to interrupt your opponent's combos. But what we have here, after we use the Arrival to set a Rikka, what we have here is a Tribute, Monster and Spell Negation, steal a card your opponent uses as material, ability to tribute your opponent's monster, tribute and steal to get rid of 2 problem cards, a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, and a Floodgate Trap Hole to stop their normal summon. If you activate any of these traps, Sarah activates to special summon a Traptrix. So you can summon Momelo to pop a spell and trap, or you can special summon Pudica, which banishes one of your opponent's special summoned monsters. Gives it back to them in the next standby phase, but if they go into a link, you activate a trap, Pudica effect, banish their link, it can just end their turn. For next turn, depending on what you want to do, you've got the ability to search for another Traptrix monster. You've got Holotea, which lets you special summon one from your grave. You've got Dianaya, which special summons a Traptrix monster from your grave. So what you would probably do in this situation, will end, and then just end straight away, so it comes back to here. You have the Petal in your grave, and at any point you have the ability to activate Holotea. You would Pingialuka. You can add either. If you want to add another trap, Momelo, go for Arachna Camper. And there you go, Sarah effect to set, just set a Holotea. It doesn't really matter at this point, this is just all to show you what you can do with the deck. These into Atopus, Dianaya effect, bring back Atopus, because why not? Shouldn't have brought back Atopus, I thought, not Atopus, sorry, should have brought back Pingialuka, I thought it could go into attack mode. That is completely my bad. You would go for something different. As I said, I haven't played Atopus yet, it's me learning at the same time, because then what you can do, is go into Strenna. You still haven't done anything to lock you into plants, so you can Utopia them. See, there is an argument there as to playing the second Pingialuka, because it would be a 3/5. If I did, I'd probably play it rather than an Ulsay, because Ulsay is fun, but it's not very often you go into it. It'd also be handy to have the second Pingialuka. I can spell it right. So yeah, I'd probably take out an Ulsay, Pingialuka, because Castira can get rid of one of them. That is everything, guys. Hopefully you enjoy the deck profile. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.